This is the Supercar Connection podcast, bringing you behind-the-scenes conversations from across the industry. If you love supercars, you're in the right place. So let's hit it. Today we sit down with Eric Cheney, owner of Voodoo Design, a USA-based exotics performance parts design and manufacturing company. Eric is responsible for some of the craziest exhaust systems out there. He specializes in induction and has a background in professional racing and drifting. Hope you enjoy.
So I started professional racing back in 2005.
Give us the whole rundown, because I feel like a lot of people know Voodoo, the name, brand, stuff like that, and I feel like a lot of people know you, but I don't know how many people get the chance to actually dive deep into like your background. Because when you have a conversation with you, you obviously know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to fucking everything, exhaust compression, everything in between. Yeah. But to acquire that knowledge, that shit doesn't come from fucking reading a book.
But see, that's my problem. Is there's so many shop owners that were all about the hype. They had a little bit of money, they had a cool car, they want to start a shop. That's and especially now with the internet. Because now, follower count equates to legitimacy.
Yeah, and it's fucking bullshit.
Fucking bullshit.
Yes.
Like, you could line up, I could probably name 5 shop owners nationally that actually know how to work on cars.
That's it. The handful of people. That's it.
And then the rest of them, they hire on, some of the better shops around.
Or they outsource their fucking work.
Well, they're... I'm not going to go into names, but there's some shops that do hire on the right team of people. And that's the big thing. If you can get the right team, and take care of that team and not just be all about the clout and fuck your team, like, I'm driving around in SVJ, I'm wearing fucking Gucci, I'm wearing Armani, fucking like, what's your crew drive? Oh, that piece of shit Honda.
Right.
You take care of the people that take care of you.
100%.
Yeah. And you could literally probably take almost
you look up, they're gone, and then what do you have?
You don't have shit.
And then
you start cranking out cars that blow up.
Yep, you're not left with shit.
Your dudes are gone that actually knew what was going on.
And I've been part of a couple of very, very good crews, and I've watched very greedy people just watch those crews disappear.
I feel like we're talking about like Fast and Furious heist right now.
It's kind of crazy because it really is, because the big part of it, and there's a lot of different shops. Like when you say shop, you're talking about more about like performance and like customization shops.
Yeah, so performance and customization shops more so than manufactured products.
Yeah,
100%. As a manufacturer, like I sell to a bunch of different shops.
Yes,
and I do try to. I pride myself in making sure that these are brick and mortar companies, that these are guys that that have a decent amount of time in the industry, that want to, they really want to build a good name for themselves and really want a solid product behind them. And that's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, I'll sell to you. And that's the benefit of being a U.S. manufacturer. That's the benefit of, setting my own rules. Like, I don't have to sell to you if I don't want to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
If I hear one client call me and bitch at me about your shitty install, I'm not selling to you again.
Yep.
I don't care.
And just to clear everything up, we're here today with Eric, who owns Voodoo Motorsports.
Or Voodoo Design,
Voodoo Design, sorry. All the names are going. Voodoo Design. You can see the 570 right behind us.
Yeah,
crazy build.
Iconic gold tint.
What do you call it? The attention whore?
Yeah. Well,
we've got gold tint. Like, this thing looks like it was like designed on Need for Speed, but then actually like put in the real world.
So it's got 24 karat gold wheels too.
It's insane. There's like gold flake in the carbon clear coat. So there's like gold sparkles in the carbon. Am I lying?
No, and then there's a 24 karat gold roll cage and wing uprights. Yeah, I had the opportunity to redo the car, and I was like, I just have to be as obnoxious as I can. And to give credit to the 458.
Then it spits flames.
Yes. So I saw a rendering 4 or 5 years ago on Instagram with a 458 that was satin black with gold wheels. And I was like, if I ever have the opportunity to really do it right, that's what I want to do, So
it looks insane. I'm a fan.
Huge fan.
Some people like the loud, some people don't. If you're driving a McLaren, why wouldn't you make it loud?
Okay, so way back, and this was probably before your time, there was KNAC, and their tagline was, if it's too loud, you're too old. So that's kind of what I've capitalized on now, the same concept. Like, and when you're a true car guy, like, it doesn't matter. Like, no. Like, I'll be 70 years old rocking, open headers on a hot rod. I don't
exactly.
give a shit.
Right.
What I mean?
Like, do what you love to do.
Yeah.
But anyway, Voodoo Design, the exhausts are insane. You specialize in a lot of things, but where was I even going with this?
Don't know. I interrupted you.
No. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Just so tell us, Voodoo Design, what all is it? Because we know you make the exhaust. You were saying like McLaren reliability parts, kind of everything that Voodoo Design does today? What is that?
So initially, after years of racing and traveling,
And we'll get to that.
yeah, when you start a family, you can't travel 30 weeks out of the year anymore. You just can't. So I needed to kind of take all of my experience working with some of the best, suspension engineers and aerodynamicists and powertrain engineers, force induction engineers, and take all that knowledge that I've learned and kind of incorporate that into a product. One of the biggest complaints I saw working for several different shops was aftermarket parts fit like ass. They just do.
They fucking do.
Because 99% of them, a part is flown over to China. It is fixtured on a concrete floor in a 150-degree warehouse, and then 15 different companies utilize those same fixtures to make their brand and slap their name on it. And it's made by very young Chinese people wearing nothing but a pair of sunglasses to weld. I mean, it's horrible the conditions these people are in. Yet people support these brands hands down because they're trendy and have great follower count.
That's it.
So for me, it was build an exhaust system initially, because exhaust is something that, as a fabricator, I knew we could do. I knew the technology behind it. Open source fixture builds and everything. So it was very easy to get up and running. And then getting a couple of shops that I've worked with in the past, a couple of race teams I'd worked with in the past to start running our product, to kind of, and hearing from their installers overall that it was the easiest kit they've ever installed, or the sound was exactly what they thought it would be. It exceeded all expectations, or, the fact that we offer a 2,000-degree military grade, Cerakote, which is a thermal ceramic coating to protect the part itself and to protect all the ambient areas around those parts, rather than being the next Lamborghini that burns down on YouTube. Oh, great, I can see my titanium exhaust. Well, that's awesome, but your Aventador just caught fire. You know what I mean? Like, heat shields exist for a fucking reason. Put them back on the car.
Mm-hmm. And so you don't use titanium?
No, titanium's a joke.
Why is titanium?
Because titanium was never designed to be an exhaust material. It was designed for, structure. It was designed for aerospace. It was designed for strength. But stainless steel, which is what most of the OEs use, has 8 times more elasticity and a 200% greater thermal capacity. So it can expand and contract over and over and over and over and over again and go back to its original size. Where every time titanium does that, it gets more and more and more brittle. So the other problem with modern titanium exhausts is these stupid pie cuts. So pie cuts came around in the 80s because mandrel bending didn't exist at the time. So in order to get those tight radiuses, in order to maintain the same continuity of inside diameter of the pipes, you had to make these cuts. But every single one of those is a cut. Every single one of those is a weld. Every single one of those is a potential point of failure. So mandrel bending has been around for 40 years. Why the fuck are we still pie cutting anything? Oh, but it looks cool, bro. No, it doesn't, because I can show you 15 exhaust systems a month that get sent to me with broken welds that people ask me to fix. So not only does it fail constantly, but now in order to get that more tinny, high-pitched sound, they run a thinner wall thickness. Well, now you have an even thinner material that was never designed to deal with heat, that's heating, expanding and contracting on the average exhaust system without cats. It gets to between 1,200 and 1,600 degrees Fahrenheit, and then back down to ambient, and then back to 1,600, and back down to ambient. It was never designed to do that. That's why titanium will blow holes in the side. You're not even talking about just the actual welds that fail. You're talking about the actual metal itself that just tears itself apart. So, and then on the race teams, some of my background, literally, when you're dealing with a sealed engine and everybody is stuck at the same power level, you know what I mean? Every ounce of weight counts, So on a race car, if you can save a pound and a half on an exhaust system, that's great.
Makes a huge difference.
But then at the end of every season or even mid-season, we just throw the exhaust away because it was only a matter of time before it actually broke.
Right.
And then like if you look at, today's cars who have the Porsche GT3 center sections that are done in titanium that are at the dealership constantly getting rewelded and fixed. The BMW M4 CS had a titanium catback. Those were always at the dealership getting welded and fixed. It's not exhaust. It was never made to be exhaust material,
Yeah. So this question may be a little bit redundant, but it's kind of just going to be for the gram. Sorry for those listening to the long form. What's the best material to make an exhaust out of?
Okay, so in my opinion, the best material is 625 Inconel. It's a super derivative of stainless steel. So you can still actually weld it to stainless and join different components with it. But Inconel is what the thrust cones on the space shuttle are made out of.
This is what you use?
Yeah. So we offer all of our base systems in stainless.
Okay.
So, and then everything has an option of being Cerakoted for heat protection. And then if you really want to fuck with the really cool, space age alloys, you can get into 625 Inconel. So it's about the same price as titanium, but it is literally designed to be an exhaust material. That's what it's for. It's designed to deal with just insane temperatures. So Inconel is one of the only materials on Earth that can get so hot you can actually see shadows through it. On the other side, it becomes almost transparent.
Fuck.
And then can actually cool back down to its own original shape. And you can do that. You can cycle that exhaust 100,000 times without having a failure.
So as let's just go as a percentage, how much more is that option than the base stainless?
About 4 times. And
4 times. Okay.
It honestly, right now with Inconel, it all depends on how much Elon Musk decides he wants to buy at any given time.
Yeah, so, it's like market price, like ordering lobster at the restaurant.
Literally,
MP at that point. It's just
stainless is this price. Inconel.
Yeah, so it's Inconel. Some people call it 625. Some people call it Inconel.
Market price.
MP on that bitch.
Yeah.
MP.
I mean, and then if you really want to get trick, there's even a new material, a super alloy called 282 Haynes. So it's an actual metal that can't be formed. It can't be extruded. It can't be rolled. It can't be shaped. It can only be 3D printed.
That's it. That's the only fucking way to do it.
It can be 3D printed. That's using SLM. So
is that what this is?
So that one's a 7075 super alloy aluminum.
Yeah,
we did it for weight savings.
You said it had some 3D print aspects.
Yeah, so I started getting into some really wild shit. So I mean, like the future is advanced manufacturing. So I mean, 3D printing is a wave of the future. But when you're talking about 3D printing, like our collectors for our SVJ systems are about this big, and they cost me $600 a piece. I mean, but it's 3D printed Inconel, or in some cases, depending on what the client wants, it could be Haynes, it could be anything else. But it's, I mean, right now it's cost prohibitive to try to do one. In a perfect world, I would find some guy with a wild car who's like, I just want you to 3D scan the car. We'll Ferro scan it, design the entire system in CAD, and then print the entire exhaust out of Haynes, and just have the most wild thing in the world. Because it changes everything you've ever learned about manufacturing, and just throws it all out, because nothing is off limits at that point. And there's only really, I mean, you've got Singer, which does a lot of 3D printing for components for their vehicles. I mean, just absolutely outrageous.
Singer. I saw a DLS on the highway a couple months ago.
Those cars are fucking gorgeous.
the Williams racing engine DLS, the like $2 million Singer.
Oh, that's the Porsches though. So this is CZ, Zinger.
Oh, Zinger.
Yeah.
Those cars are also insane.
Yeah, Google them. I mean, they're doing complete engine assemblies, suspension arms, uprights, all out of 3D printed metal.
One of my clients is an engineer for them. Or he just got let go of being an engineer for them, because they're right there down in LA area. They're fucking, their facility is fucking insane.
The way they designed all their components too, with like the AI reduction modeling that they did.
A lot of money being funded into that fucking company.
But it's, I mean, it's all... I mean, even if they don't survive, whatever they do now is still going to be started.
They're moving along. They're moving along, advancing that side of the technology. Yeah. So whatever they leave off, somebody will come pick up from, and then hopefully fucking advance.
And then Bugatti does an exhaust tip out of 3D printed metal. I mean, I've done some pretty wild 3D printed tips out of Haynes and Inconel and even aluminum and whatnot. But again, right now it's more the, hey, it's cool because my McLaren's got a 3D printed metal tip on it, or my Lamborghini's got a piece of 3D printed metal on it. Right now, it's still hype. It's cool because you can shape it differently, but yeah.
It'll come to a point where that will be standard manufacturing, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, until you look at the cost of one machine and just how small the parts are that you can print right now.
How do you feel about fake exhaust tips?
False tips, or like a tip-in-tip design?
Let's go. Tell me. Like a shaped exit on the bumper, basically. And then the exhaust tips, or the actual exhaust pipes, are just sitting behind. Like, if you see.
So are you talking about like a 488 or a 458 where you have a tip and then you have the little tip behind it, or are you talking about like the ones where it's like legitimately a fucking fake tip and then the exhaust is like a turn down below it?
Not turn down below; it still goes through it. But have you seen like there's
a Mansory Urus?
Have you seen the Mansory Urus?
Where it has that exhaust, like the triangular exhaust in the back?
But then, like, it's the exhaust tips are just sitting like behind this crazy triangular design, but like they're not connected to it in any way.
I can't be the only one that just thinks Mansory is just like a fucking joke.
100%. 100%.
Fuck buys that.
100% is a joke.
Have you seen the Bugatti in person?
No. I've never seen it in person. I've never seen it in
Oh
person.
my
we saw the
God.
helicopters.
The body
shit, you're
line.
right.
Which
You're
ones
right.
did we see?
You're right.
What, you talking
Yeah.
about the Veyron or the Chiron?
The Veyron.
Veyron.
Is
we saw
rough.
the Veyron.
Like, who pays that kind of money for that shit?
People who don't give a fuck. People who have money doesn't mean a fucking thing.
I know, but eventually, like,
How many do you see stateside?
no, you don't.
It's not an American market product.
Yeah. Even if it was an American market product, like even if I lived in Europe and was some hoity-toity Parisian fuck, like I mean, it would just be like I still couldn't bring myself to buy it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you see one in Europe, it's probably got like a Kuwait license plate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It probably does.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Yeah. We both think there's some designs I like from them, but overall it's pretty fucking stupid. But
And again, it's the whole race car rule. It's the 50-50 rule. You know what I mean? 50 miles an hour, 50 feet away, it looks great. Then you get up close and you're like, oh, what the?
Man, the
Like,
4
what the
GT,
fuck?
they literally just absolutely just ruined.
I haven't seen the Mansory 4 GT. I have not
It
seen
is
it. It's that bad.
disgusting.
They made a GT?
It is.
I didn't even know that. That's what I'm saying. I haven't even seen it. I'm dying to see
Who
it.
loaned them the car?
It's the grossest thing. It's the grossest thing you've ever seen. They took such a beautiful. It pisses me
Now I'm
off.
fucking dying to see it.
Such a beautiful design, such a
dying to
beautiful
fucking see it.
American
Gotta Google
design.
that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
look,
you should,
pull it up.
honestly, pull it
Pull
up.
it up.
Yeah,
Hold on,
we can
Google.
get a live reaction.
Yeah, dude, shit, I want to see it too.
You got to see
got
this
it?
thing.
Let me see. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah, let's do this.
This thing is like
Mansory Ford.
the
Oh my
what they do with
fucking
the-
God.
What they do with the
Oh,
headlights?
my
Like, what did they do with
fucking
the headlights, bro? Do you see it yet?
The fuck?
Yeah. What is that? They made it look like a Decepticon or something.
No, it honestly almost looks like a fucking. Okay, it does kind of look like a Decepticon, but
kind of like a Jesco.
that's kind of what I was gonna say. I was like, that's kind of what it
Not
looks
in a
like.
good way though.
No, not in a sense.
But in
that.
an absolutely non-functional era.
It looks like what are those
That thing looks like it's catching air.
what are those kit
not
kit cars?
releasing it.
They have like those kit supercars that go over Corvettes, over base C7s. I forgot what the fuck it's called.
Oh,
I
there's
think
a
it's
lot
like Vader or something like that. Like a, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So it basically looks like a Vader
Yes.
version of a fucking 4
Somebody
GT
took
for a
giant
Jesco.
fiberglass plugs.
Yeah,
and started
they
building
just
a
started
car.
putting body panels everywhere,
Right. And they
you could-
probably like made 3 kits and sold them at $3 million each or something like that.
Yep.
And they're all in Dubai, all 3 of them.
all 3 of them in some collector's garage.
There might be
They're
one in
just sitting there.
Japan, maybe,
That's it.
because they do some crazy stuff with their cars in Japan.
They do some fucking
But
stupid.
in
Yeah,
Japan,
but-
they do their own stuff. I don't
Yeah.
think anyone's buying a Mansory kit because they're just gonna like do their own crazy kits and throw lights on it and a million wings.
Everything between.
I don't know. Non-functional aero and I don't get along.
Yeah, very much. So.
I can't stand it.
Very much
Functional aero. That's what it's all about.
so. Yeah.
Well, again, I mean, at these speeds, at this level of car, for the fact that you're going to pay $8,000-$9,000 for a wing that doesn't fucking work, like,
Ridiculous.
what are you doing?
How about this? 4C. Fun fact for you. Goofy little car, but hey, I've loved her for the last 3 years. We got a vent on the lower driver side,
Okay.
not on the lower passenger side, because on the left side, it funnels air into the transmission cooling. Right side, they're like, we don't have anything to cool over here,
So they just didn't put one.
why put a vent?
That's perfect.
I take all my pictures on the driver's side because that extra,
Because it's got a cool vent.
that extra little carbon vent, it
Yeah.
looks cool. But yeah, nothing on the other side because they're like, why would we put something? There's nothing. It would just be for aesthetics.
I feel like most manufacturers would put something on the right side just to
Oh,
keep everything
100%.
symmetrical, but they're like, no, fuck
I mean,
it.
the symmetry design of it works, but then, like you said, figure something out to put there.
The Mercy was the same way.
Really?
The Mercy has a lower transmission cooling vent on the driver's side, and then not on the passenger side.
Really?
Really?
I actually didn't know that either.
Y'all want to fact check me right now? You can have Benji look that one up too.
Is that fucking true? Gavin's fucking coming with the heat.
Yeah, dude, damn.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so you were
Fake vents, man.
running like motorsport racing for a while, yeah?
Yeah, so about the only form of racing I haven't been involved in was open wheel. But, you know, I mean, I've done privateer teams for BMW. I've done, back in the day, Ford teams. I've done
What were you doing for them? Like,
crew chief. Or sometimes, you know, obviously depending on where I started, it was, you know, fabricator, you know, pit crew, working my way up, working with the engineers, and then finally doing crew chiefs for different programs. You know, for Audi R8s, factory Lamborghini cars, like the Super Trofeo series.
yeah,
Um,
those chrome gold cars.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now
you
that
know,
I don't know
I
if they
mean,
were always like that.
single make series makes sense if you have an arrive and drive program where rich men just fly in and want to race each other and then leave. But
Yeah.
that's the reason Lamborghini doesn't compete against anybody else, because they don't like losing. So that's why you have arrive and drive single make series cars. You know, so it's kind of like
Is that what those are that I just said?
Yeah, so it's like like a spec Miata. You know, like it just happens to be a very expensive spec Miata. But the Miatas obviously don't want to race anybody else because they're just going to get their asses kicked. But
what about the Aventador, whatever it's called, like the SC?
That new one, SCG12, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
have you heard it?
I've heard it in person.
Are you going to make an Aventador sound, an SVJ sound like that?
Oh, I mean, we're trying.
I haven't. What are we talking about? I don't know what the fuck.
Sounds nuts.
It's just, I mean, the one thing. Okay, so I know you're a Ferrari fan, but so like, I mean, you can go back 10 years, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like, you have Ferrari, who was like at Geneva, who was like, look, it took us 30 years to develop this. It has F1 technology, and they ripped the cover off the La Ferrari, and the internet's like, ooh and ah, and the media's going nuts, and then Lamborghini's like, the Reventon, look at our car, and it's still cool. Or then, they take the cover off an FXX, and Lamborghini's like, the Veneno, and it's like, okay, it's an Aventador with a body kit, but it didn't matter. It looked like fucking Darth Vader, dude. The whole internet went nuts, lost its fucking mind. It had nothing cool on it than a cool interior and a body kit. They'll still get more exposure than Ferrari ever will.
Absolutely.
We made a meme about rebodied Aventadors.
We did, yeah. No, it's fucking
There's so many different rebodied Aventadors.
It's because Ferrari, their fucking culture, like their whole company, dating back to when they fucking started, that's the last thing they want to do is fucking make something that looks too crazy or ostracized.
But they can.
They can, and they're just starting to with the SF90X, whatever the fuck, XX or whatever it is. That's the first car that's coming factory that actually has a little bit of fucking aero and sexiness to it. Now,
but that's an FXX car, right?
No,
it's not.
The SF90.
So that's an actual street car.
That's gonna be an actual street car.
It's just the XX. Well, yeah, because most of the FXX cars are FXX, right?
Yeah, and they're a arrive and drive race program.
Correct. It's the SF90XX.
XX,
and it's street car.
It's street car. It's going to be like the higher trim of the SF90.
It's basically like the
So
SVJ
now the Ferrari's finally realizing they're starting to crack into that fucking, I guess I don't even want to call it a market or whatever. They're starting to dabble that side of the game, which before they'd never fucking have.
I mean, that's good. I mean, the Pura Sangue or pure whatever the fucking Mazda MX-5. I mean, it's just like,
the stretched Mazda CX-5.
Whatever.
That or the Urus. Pura Sangue or Urus?
Okay.
Anytime Eric starts,
honestly, I would just take an RSQ8.
I would say, you don't have to.
I mean, the Urus is just a beast. It looks right. Like, it's just aggressive. I mean,
can I ask you this question? What can you do to RSQ8, or in all your opinion, if you had to pick between a Urus and RSQ8 in terms of the modification abilities, is it the damn same? Or
I mean, it's the exact same car.
It's the exact same car.
I mean, the Cayenne, the RSQ8, and the Urus all have the same variation of the 4-liter twin turbo. They all have the same turbos. They all have the same heads. They all have the same cam profile. They take the same downpipes.
Same dual clutch.
The same transmission. It's just a difference of which wide body kit you like more on the Audi or the Lamborghini. And then, I mean, the Lamborghinis that flex and the Audi, it's the same reason I got another R8 over an Huracan. I've had an Huracan, and now with the R8 again, I did it because same exact platform, same exact car. Hell, you could probably take the body panels off and bolt one on the other, doesn't matter. But it's more of like the executive's Lamborghini. It's all the same power numbers, all the same, speed, all the same quarter mile, everything, but it just doesn't carry that douchebag connotation with it.
It's a name. That's all that it is.
Yeah.
It's a moniker.
If you have the money, you can take an R8, you can do a twin turbo kit on it, and have a crazy car, an awesome build, and you're still under the price of the Huracan.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, obviously, kudos to Audi. I mean, when they did the R8 and every single variation of the R8 that came out up until I think the 2017 V10 Plus, when Audi was finally like, look, Lamborghini, shut the fuck up. We make your cars.
Yeah.
Like, our R8 is going to be faster.
Chill the fuck out.
We're over you trying to say that your cars are better and faster. It's the same car. Everybody knows it. So the V10 Plus, like in every measurable metric, just beat the LP610. So, and in my opinion, has way better visibility out the car, zero blind spots. It's way more comfortable for a taller guy. Like if you're 6 feet tall or taller in an Huracan, you're like sliding the seat forward and then tilting it all the way back just so you don't hit your headliner.
That's literally exactly how I was. I like we had an Evo for about a week and I was literally like fucking in that.
Yeah, forget it.
Good thing I'm 5'9". I don't have to worry about it.
You got to get the Roadster, and then in that case, it's just.
I grew up playing football, and I was like, God, why did you make me so small? I just want to be good at football, and then football's only lasts so long, and now I'm like, I can fit in any car.
I was going to say now you can fit in all the cool sports cars.
Yeah, it does not matter
Now I'm looking at shit. I'm like, fuck, I don't fit in that fucking thing.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, fuck that
I'll
shit.
jump in anything. Nothing's too small.
I even got in the 720 and I was like, fuck, this is going to be tight. No, once you're in it, it's fine. Once you're in the tub and you're in the driver's seat, it's fine. But getting in that thing, the way that when the door opens up, the angle that I have to get in.
But you got the comfort seats though, right?
I do have comfort seat, yeah. I don't have
you get the sport buckets or the P1 seat or the Senna seat, and you're like...
No, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
I got into a 720 with what was that one that we got into?
We got in the P1 seats.
P1 seats. I got in the P1 seats.
P1 seats aren't bad.
They're not bad.
Dude, for me, they're bad. Like,
but to me, like when you look at a real race seat, and this is what I try to tell everybody, is like all those race seats that have the fixed high side bolsters and fixed shoulder bolsters and helmet guards and all that, like all of our track cars had quick release steering wheels. So you'd put the steering wheel on the dash, you had all the room in the world to get in and out.
Yeah. There's no
Street cars don't do that.
No.
So you can't you're like one leg and then the other fucking leg.
That's literally what I was doing. I was
sucks.
like, I looked at the guy, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to get out of your car. I was like, you might as well just give me the keys so I'll just take the shit.
Also, what are you doing? What are you doing with the 720 with
P1
Senna seats?
I don't know, man. People are fucking
P1 seats are, you can get, if you're a smaller guy like me, I can get away with it. But crawling in and out of like the Senna seats,
I mean,
unless you're
again,
going to the track
but then
often.
if you try to find a set of Senna seats, like I was looking for seats for the McLaren, and was looking at a bunch of different seats, trying to get P1 seats or whatever else, because it's kind of like I've got the cage in there now, and I've got, I have a set of 6-point Sparco harnesses, so I was looking everywhere for a proper track seat, because I'm a little bit, thinner frame guy, which works for me. So, I mean, I can fit in those seats pretty well, and what a lot of people don't realize about those seats, and the reason they use them is, you can take the same 720 around a track, even if you have like an instructor next to you, and then you can get in the exact same car with just a seat change. And all of a sudden you realize how much energy and time and mental focus you put into just holding yourself into the right form, and then how much less fatigue you feel on your body, because now, the seat just holds you exactly where you're supposed to be. All of a sudden your focus changes, your line changes, everything else about driving changes based on just the fact that you're not like, holy shit, I gotta hold myself in, So the seats exist for a reason, not just for safety. Yeah. But and then I got together with my guys at Sparco, who I've worked with for years and years. And I was like, we're doing a full leather Alcantara suede combo. I'm putting a fixed bucket into a McLaren. And they're like, you're going to do what? And I was like, well, I looked up the P1 seats and like $6,000-$7,000 a set. The Senna seats are $12,000 to $18,000 a set. I want to, the McLarens, now that they're finally coming down in price, they're going to be a car that people are going to start to track. So I was like, okay, well, for $150,000, what are you going to find out there that can do 600 to the ground with nothing but a tune and exhaust? And the 570 600 platform is phenomenal. So we developed our whole bolt-in roll cage solution. We 3D scanned the entire tub of the car with a ferro arm. We built these whole drop-in, frame seat mounts now that can mount a Sparco, a Sawbelt, a Recaro that have submarine strap harnesses. So you're going to be able to bolt in 5-point, 6-point harnesses in. A whole solution for pretty much anything you want to when people start tracking the McLarens.
You're working on that right now?
Yeah, it's already done now. So
you have a price point for it?
The seat bracket's gonna be $600. Yeah, and then you can take any $800-$900 race seat and throw it in your car. And now you have, instead of just a street seat from McLaren, you've got an FIA certified actual pro seat. So. Yeah, and it's one of those things where I do want to see more of these start to hit the track. Pre-COVID, it was like, God, some of the 570s are dropping out in the low 100s.
Crazy.
And I was like, yeah, now people are really going to start tracking these.
I was looking, it was actually funny, during that time frame, I was like starting to come up and I was like, I wonder what I can afford, blah, blah, blah. And I was looking at 570s and I was like, these things are still, they're like 140, 150. And then COVID happened, everything kind of shot up and they went back up to almost to 200. And now they're back down where you can see them almost like 130, 140, I would say. 150, I think, right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that they hover 140, 150s now, which just blows my mind because, I know what I paid for mine, and I've had, I think we topped 40,000. I'm almost at 40,000 miles. So, and I've enjoyed every fucking minute of it.
Because this platform I'm actually not super familiar with. So, what are the things comparative to, for example, the 720 that all have those standard issues? What's the issues on these things? What are the things to look out for someone that's looking to get into this market?
McLaren.
That's it. That's it. Just a normal McLaren shit. That's it.
Yeah, and again, anybody who's like, all the internet kids are gonna be like, oh, fucking McLarens are a pile of shit. They break down constantly. No, you know what? They don't. You don't know because you haven't fucking driven one. What color is your McLaren, right? I mean, it's really what it comes down to. And it's like, so if you're used to it, and McLaren knows, they fully admit it. 99% of the problems with the McLaren go away if you just put shut the car off, walk away for 10 minutes, and come back. you know? So if you can deal with that, bang for the buck, I've never had anything more fun. I mean, I had a 2012 twin turbo R8. I've had 991 Turbo S as fully modded. I mean, that made way too much fucking power. Which the Turbo S is easily the most underrated Porsche known to man. Fuck the GT cars. You know, GT2, GT3, GT3 RS fanboys like, oh, I can beat you around a fucking track. Yeah, sure. You know, but like bang for the buck, nothing touches the Turbo S.
I respect that.
You know, but then the McLaren comes in at the price point and doors go up.
That's very true.
Billionaire doors.
So what would you take, 720 or Turbo S? 992 Turbo S? Or brand new
992 Turbo S?
Versus a brand new 720.
Okay. Two totally different cars.
Price point similar.
Price point similar.
Now.
Power is similar.
Yep.
The difference is one you buy because you want the attention. You know, and that's the same thing I'll always say. Like, to me, the 911 chassis will never be an exotic. When you roll the shows and stuff and you see, it doesn't matter what it is, even a 3RS, even the new 3RS, for as cool as it looks and all the aero, it's not an exotic. It's just fucking not. And the only reason it is because it hit a price point, and that's only because the markup.
Exactly. That's it. The only reason why.
So the
100%.
Turbo S, though, I mean, again, with the whole gentleman's race car, like it's everything a 2RS is, but it's all-wheel drive.
Very true.
You know? I mean,
it's not just a little bit boring.
It's a lot of it boring.
It's a lot of it. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've done such a good job and had so many years to develop that platform that aside from the whole, I mean, and they've gotten better with the whole Tomahawk, you know, losing control aspect of a rear engine car.
Yeah.
But I mean, it used to be, you know, you'd hang that thing out for a little bit, and once you hit that point of no return, you're fucking gone.
You're gone. And you're never going to stop.
No. And you die. So, but I mean, that's why
you're never coming back.
That's why the GT2 was called the Widowmaker.
Yeah, it's very fucking true.
Yeah.
He's got a good point though. Think about how long they've been developing that fucking platform, and now we live in a day and age where all of a sudden it just comes out so popular, and they're like, "Wow, this fucking car's amazing!" Like they've literally spent like fucking 30+ years perfecting that fucking dumbass platform.
I know he's not saying this.
I mean, God, more than that since the 70s.
Yeah, probably about 50 fucking plus years. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is hilarious because like in past episodes, I've told this to him, and he's like, he takes it as a negative, and now he's spinning it to me as a positive. I can't handle this.
What,
guy.
the fact that it's
the name
boring?
of the game? Huh?
No,
the fact that the Porsches are boring.
The fact that they've been developing it for decades. I'm like, they've been perfecting it for decades. He's like, no, they haven't changed anything.
That's what I'm
why
saying.
It's boring.
But it just pisses me off that people act like all of a sudden Porsche's this fucking god company. Like they've been doing the same fucking thing for 50 years. Like by now they should have had this shit perfected 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah,
but they're still
and like
shit.
the Carrera GT and the 918, those are hyper.
I'm not changing shit. It's what it is. You act like you can try to pull it back from other episodes.
Yell at me.
I will yell at you. The Porsches back in the Porsche become an actually decent car until the fucking 90s, and then they started to get pretty decent. I've said this on other episodes.
Back when we could have bought a fucking 993 air-cooled turbo for 30 grand.
Yeah, for dirt cheap. Now
should have.
Yeah, exactly.
Bought them all.
Yeah, bought every single one that fucking got manufactured.
We should have bought everything. You should have bought all the Porsches, every 911 in existence.
But that's only because the P car owner is like they're a different breed.
Different human.
Like they eat, sleep, and breathe it. They're worse than 4 owners.
They're cultists. I'm telling you.
It's literally, that's a great term.
They're exactly cultists.
The 911 is a cult leader.
Yeah,
100%.
But the Turbo S is
great
arguably the best Porsche, you know. And the cool part too is, I mean, especially in the modern car, you can do the same rear seat delete out of a GT3. You can do the same roll cage, the same bolt-in race seats, the same suspension, the same center lock brakes, the same CCMs. I mean, God, you can all the same bolt-on suspension parts you can get for the GT2 or GT3 bolt right on, and at the end of the day, you still have all-wheel drive.
So you're taking Turbo S over the 720 then?
No, because I like the flex. I mean, I love the fact that like the 720 literally looks like a UFO.
It does. It's fucking
like
spaceship.
it's just. I mean, the dihedral doors. I mean, everything about that car is.
It looks like a shark.
Yeah. And I mean, arguably you could say Ferrari, but McLaren truly is the only modern car company that is a race car company first and a production car company second.
They spawned that in an F1 team, literally.
Yeah.
Ferrari, I kind of get what you're saying, but the history of Ferrari goes back too far, and like the way that it's comparative to the way McLaren did it. It's literally the only manufacturer that was like, fuck street cars, we'll make F1 cars, and now they're like, all right, let's tone it down and make a street car type shit.
And that's, I mean, and like, so I always try to tell people too, when they're like, well, you know, it's only rear wheel drive. And it's like, yes, but I've had a twin turbo all wheel drive car that made, I mean, at the time it was like 770 wheel. I mean, which isn't anything spectacular by today's standards, but McLaren can do with rear-wheel drive what other car companies couldn't do with all-wheel drive and advanced launch control and everything. Like they just hook up. They just fucking move. So yeah, I mean, I'm allowed to say that you're getting a 720?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, that's old.
Yeah.
That's old
okay,
news,
good.
yeah.
Because it is gonna blow your fucking mind. I mean, and then you tune an exhaust, and it's just, I mean, there's just nothing more fun. You know, I mean, it's just a whole different animal.
So yeah, walk the people through what you think. What would you suggest as a base modification package for the 720? Like if you were to get a 720 tomorrow yourself, what would be the mandatory things that you would need to do for that car?
I would put my brand new Voodoo 4-liter, M840 engine in it. I'd put big ass giant turbos on it. I'd make 1,200 wheel horsepower. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, keep the stock turbos. So, I mean, map switching is cool, but I have it on mine. I don't use it. So save yourself the money to put a single file tune on the car. Downpipes. Well, can we even say that?
Yeah.
Emissions delete devices. Fuck you, California.
No, say everything. Fuck everybody.
Yeah. Downpipes, catbacks, so you can get a little bit more pitch out of it, get the car to sound a little more exotic. Tips to fix the bumper singeing issue. Plus they look cool. And then spark plugs just to handle the boost. Intercoolers to kind of help manage the new heat generated by the fact that you're spinning the turbos faster. And then that's pretty much it. And then, of course, obviously, lower it, set of wheels, some carbon, Otherwise, I mean, your color is wild. I wouldn't do anything to it. I'd clear rod and be done.
Yeah.
So throw some extra carbon on it, throw a set of Brixtons on it, and just...
call it a day.
Yeah, and then you're done.
Call it a day.
After 100 grand a mod.
Right, exactly.
Everything's relative, right?
Yeah.
So it's like colder kit on your Honda or 1016 kit on your
fucking thing. I was pricing out a
720.
1016 kit yesterday. I was like, fuck me. I didn't realize how fucking expensive
Yeah,
those are, man.
Because you can literally
They're beautiful though.
buy almost an entirely new car.
For a price of just a kit.
Completely new bumpers.
I was literally laughing my ass off. I was looking because I was like, I had a price in my head. I was like, all right, let me see if I can fucking make this happen. I started pricing it out. I was like, what the fuck? Wing, 10 grand. Fenders, 8 grand. Bumper, just the fucking valance port of the bumper, not the bumper, like just the valance port of the bottom. I think it was like 80, 200 or some shit like that.
And then you had the bumper, then you had the canards, then you had the carbon headlight buckets.
Yeah,
and now you're like, I just got a 30,000 front end.
That's what I'm saying.
The full kit's probably over 100 grand. Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing with my R8. I was like, I've done so much work at 1016. I love their fucking product. Again, one of those companies that I truly support because they actually do CFD testing on all their products, which is computational fluid dynamics. Yeah. So they're one of the few aero companies that actually makes functional parts. Otherwise, you could walk by a fucking Vorsteiner wing and you flap it, and then the wing goes. Yeah. So I did that in their SEMA booth and got kicked out.
Got kicked out of their SEMA booth.
Oh yeah, get the fuck out. And I was like, your shit don't work.
Right.
I can stand on my spoiler. Can't tell you how many times I've seen carbon front fairings and side skirts rip off at, running half-mile, airstrip attack stuff. You'll see pieces flying off cars. Like, their stuff is legit. It's light, it's functional, it works, and it fits. So, when I had the option of the R8, I was like, okay, fuck it, bite the bullet. Everything but the hood. So
Everything but the hood?
Everything but the hood. So
I think by the time this comes out, you think that R8 will be operational? 3 weeks?
I am hoping. The turbo kit part of it's done.
Are we allowed to talk about it too? We're allowed to discuss the R8?
Yeah, you want to talk about the new shop car?
Yeah,
my new bitch.
Car. Yeah, your new bitch. Your new main bitch.
So
because you got 2 new bitches recently, but this is the more important new bitch.
Yeah, so the whole supercar connection concept. Yeah, so I went stupid. So yeah, it was funny because, a year and a half ago, I had a lot of people rooting against me and had a falling out. And I was like, I'm not going to go into that part. So, but that being said, had the opportunity this year to kind of add a second car to the stable. I was like, the McLaren's done. It's branded right. It's getting the exact type of response I wanted from it. And I was asked again to start getting back into the turbo game. So obviously my Instagram name is Boost Scientist. So, I've been doing forced induction engineering for years. I used to be a kit development partner with Garrett Turbo. I've done every variation of forced induction imaginable. If there's a car, I've turboed it. If there is a chassis, I've modified it. If there is any race car variation of it, I've crashed it. So, I mean, that's the benefit of kind of being in the game as long as I have. And it's like, where other shops are afraid to engineer something or change the location of an exhaust exit. I'm like, fuck it. I'll cut the car up and do a center exit, so like I'll change everything to make it work. So with the turbo kits, I used to do turbo kits on the V10 platforms back when the Gallardos and R8s were around. And then some of the other guys jumped in and got really big. They got a lot of hype. Instagram started picking up. So I was like, okay, I'll let them do their thing. And everybody was like, well, you still do these kits. And I was like, well, yeah, but I don't do the crazy horsepower anymore. Like I did that. I chased the 2,000 horsepower. I've made 2,000 horsepower. I've made 3,000 horsepower. Like they become problem childs. They really do. Like the cars are literally parked at a shop and then you get to drive them 2 or 3 times a year at the race events. And hopefully they don't break at the race event.
Yeah, they're just not built for that.
Yeah.
So, and then anybody who says you can build a 1,700 wheel horse car and daily drive it, they're full of shit.
Yeah, bullshit.
Like I've been doing this way too fucking long, and you can't. It's just not possible. So, and everybody's like, oh, well, do you have any client cars that we can hear or drive? And I was like, no, because they've all been, they all get built, they get shipped to their owners, and then the owner drives them around. Like, and they're still out running today. So it's all about reliability. So I had the opportunity to be the first twin turbo kit on a V10 platform in the country of Japan. So a friend of mine knows a shop out there. They're absolutely one of the best shops in the entire country. And they hit me up like, hey, we need an R8 twin turbo kit. And I was like, well, I just finished development of my Huracan kit, but the tips are in a different location. There's some variations in the kits. The one's not going to fit the other. And he's like, okay, well, we need an R8 kit. And I was like, fuck, okay, I guess I'm going to buy an R8.
Yeah.
So the goal was buy the R8, design and develop the entire turbo kit, then take it off after we know everything fits in dyno, package it, ship it to Japan, and then just get rid of the R8. And everybody's like, dude, keep the car, make it work, get another turbo kit on it, and start letting your customers drive it again. And that's how I ended up with the R8. So now I've got a Gen 2 R8, twin turbo. We went with, best of the best. So, I mean, like I was trying to tell you guys earlier is, rather than skimping and using, Chinese precision turbos or eBay turbos or all these other things, like we went with oil and water-cooled turbos, instead of the self-contained bullshit that's come out lately. It's OEM reliability. It's, you're going to make 1,000 horsepower and it's going to sit there all day long. You're going to be able to beat the hell out of it every day and it's just going to live. We limit the torque to 625 wheel torque. You're not going to end up, breaking axle shafts or, clutch baskets or any of the other problems. It's like anybody's like, oh, you make 1,200 wheel horse. It's like, yeah, but for how long? Or
you start getting all kind of cascade of problems.
Imagine buying your turbo off eBay.
I actually can.
Yeah, it happens.
I'm
sure
it happens.
Or it's like, I've been doing this so long. Like I partnered with Tile for our, external wastegates, for our blow-off valves. Wagner engineering out of Germany does all of our intercooler cores. I mean, we sourced nothing from China, nothing from Indonesia, even all of our AN lines and fittings. Unlike other kits where you're just going to get a bunch of rubber hoses, and you see them like with a bunch of worm clamps and shit. It's like, dude, you just spent 40 grand on a turbo kit and you got some 6-cent, Pep Boys hose clamp holding your shit together. Like we invested in the full crimping machines. We do everything with AN lines and fittings. Even our vacuum lines are AN line and fitting. So everything, it's the best of the best. So, and we're aiming to, take a bite out of VF Engineering, because the one thing I can say about them is their kit is ridiculously reliable, but that's just because it also doesn't make any real rear wheel horsepower.
So let's combine the two.
Yeah. So just combine the two. You have turbos that are all protected properly, all the right heat insulation, all the exotic bumpers that we do will fit with bumpers because bumper delete is not a fucking mod.
Yeah.
And that whole thing needs to die.
The whole community.
Yeah. That whole trend needs to die. Like put your fucking bumper on.
So the whole reason I think
titanium. How will we know that it's twin turbo?
Yeah. How are we going to know you have a titanium exhaust if I can't see right through your fucking thing?
Well, then you just buy one of the Voodoo, center exit conversions. So we've got them for the Huracans, we've got them for the R8s, and it opens up a whole grill. You get to look inside and see, but you actually have your bumper. So it's like the guys, we all buy supercars to think we're going to get girls, and it's not. It's just a bunch of dudes like, oh, bro, dude, nice car, dude.
Yeah, very much so.
You ask any girl on the street, like who looks at a car show and sees a car without a bumper, the number one thing they say is, did he get in an accident?
Yeah, why is there no bumper on it?
Like that's not a flex to them.
No, not
like your car looks like shit. We buy, again, with the Porsche versus McLaren, like one of the benefits of a McLaren, Doors go up, paintings go down. That's just, the sayings exist for a reason.
Very
right?
much so.
So, yeah. So now I have the twin turbo R8, the McLaren, and then just picked up the 2022 V8 Vantage. So,
What are we doing with the Vantage?
Yeah, what's the plan for that
well,
thing?
the plan was I'm just going to wrap it to kind of match the McLaren satin black. I'm just going to do powder-coated gold wheels this time, not actually gold wheels. So Brixton's doing a set of 21s for that. Rotor is coming by. We're going to measure and scan up the rotors. We're going to do a full float two-piece on it, steel braided lines, pads.
Fuck.
We're going to lower it. I'm working with StanceWorks to develop a front lift kit for it because, I like all these cars like don't have front lift. Like,
Which is
forget
ridiculous,
it.
yeah.
And then that was it. I was just going to tune in exhaust, basic mods, 550 wheel, and then my boys at Pure are like, "Hey, dude, the Pure 1000s just came out." I was like, "The what?" He's like, "Dude, 700 wheel, easy on pump gas," and you're like, "Fuck."
So let's send it.
I send it on everything. That's my problem.
It's the only option. One mode, send it mode.
Yeah.
You know what I think you should do?
Oh, no.
I think you should paint the undercarriage of this car red.
So when I flip it, people see the color.
Yeah, and then
nice
like
red bottoms.
get Louboutin written on there.
Get Voodoo written in like a Louboutin font type shit. Get
I just had my
Voodoo
face
right
put
there.
on a Louboutin.
I would say, yeah.
That was actually pretty wild.
Because those V8 Vantages are coming down in price fucking tremendously. You can snipe those things for crazy fucking deals right now.
I don't understand. So the supercar connection, supercars, they'll depreciate a little bit. Some of them hold, some of them go up. Luxury cars, holy shit.
Luxury cars hold nothing.
No.
I've said this before.
Dude, what I picked that up for,
Disgusting.
with 3,000 miles, like the first owner took a bath. And
Yeah,
I was like,
super.
but then you look at it and they kind of hit a floor, you know what I mean? And then they're not going to drop much more.
Exactly. That's the key. That's where you get in.
Yeah.
You let that 50% drop happen, and then you slide in, pick it up, and then what's your downside risk? Maybe 10 grand?
But then you're driving it for 2 or 3 years for 10 grand.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Not 6 months for
Yeah.
exactly. Not 2 months for 10 grand.
Yeah.
This is the whole idea of exotic car hacks.
Yeah, literally it is.
That's their whole game plan.
I mean, yeah, and it like with an Huracan too. Like, fuck, dude, the LP610s are still going for over 200.
Which is
Like, you
disgusting.
kidding me? Like, you can't even get into a 2020 Evo for less than 20 grand
250.
over stock right now. You
Which
got
is
stickers that are
crazy.
230, 240. The cars are selling still for 300.
It's wild.
Very much so.
Dude, right now, even if my car was bone stock, I could sell that car after driving the shit out of it for 3 years for more than I bought it for. Like, you want to talk about the best bang for the buck? Or investment. Holy shit! Like, I'll drive an exotic for free.
Yeah.
That's the same thing with the twin turbo R8. I'm gonna have it for a year, sell it. Or Danielle says she's gonna the minute I put it up for sale, she's like, I'm buying that fucking car. So I was like, I'm down. Like, that'll be cool, and we'll keep it in the family. So
Absolutely.
that was kind of like, and then even that car, like, it's not going to go down any more than that. And then so I originally, before the Aston, I was looking at getting into a Rolls-Royce Wraith until I went and drove one, and it's
A boat.
fucking boring. Like,
boring?
dude, it just floats. I mean, I guess if that's what you want,
Yeah.
but I wanted the luxury, but I wanted something that still commanded like the attention and even got
presence.
it. Like, it doesn't matter anywhere I go right now. Even the day I got it, I got a speeding ticket, and even the cop was like, "Sorry about the ticket, bro, but by the way, nice car." And I was
With
like,
the Vantage?
"Oh, thanks." Yeah,
Yeah.
literally on the way back from the
That's James Bond's car, man. That fucking, no matter whoever your regular day person, you
Aston
see that
Martin,
thing, they
they
don't
make-
fucking know what they're looking at. That
they
car
make
is fucking
beautiful
smooth.
cars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but then they
Always
just
have.
yeah. I mean, you're looking at
They just
a
lose all their value.
$500,000 Rolls Royce. It's now worth $300,000. You get a $175,000 sticker on an Aston. You buy it for $100,000.
Yeah.
Like,
Bentleys, same story. Have you seen the new Maserati Gran Turismos?
oh god. I mean, well, that's
Fuck
Maserati.
it.
I mean,
we made a video on it. He killed the video on those cars are fucking ridiculous. Talking
they're
about
now-
depreciation, it's disgusting.
The Trofeos, which are like the top ones,
Mm-hmm.
the ones where they put the the Nettuno V6 in it. They sticker like 215, 220. There's new ones, brand new, selling for 30 under.
well, god. I mean, the MC20s.
Listed,
Remember that
not
when
even
that first
selling
came out?
for. They're listed for
Yeah.
30 under.
The MC20 was going for 30, 40 over. Now they're going for 20, 30 under.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who's buying them?
No, nobody is.
nobody.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was looking when Eurocar had one. I was at the vehicle search, and I was like, should I just get an MC20?
The moment the new Gran Turismo came out, we pulled it up and we were looking at pricing, and like we were literally talking about how much those were going to lose. And I think he asked like how much after a year. Like you buy that car, you drive it for a year, how much do you lose? And I was like, easy 60 grand.
easily.
And we're looking at. I pulled one up that had 3,000 miles on it and was down 60 grand under the sticker price.
Telling you,
3,000 miles.
I mean,
just give it 2-3 years.
At least it's better than the Ghibli. You know what I mean?
That's disgusting. Yeah,
Glorified Chrysler.
Yeah, literally to fucking T.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. You got the luxury market is strange.
Yeah.
You know? But
I don't think there's a better intro car right now. Somebody wants to break into that price bracket than the fucking V8 Vantage. I really don't think there is.
well, I mean, it's also got the M177 Mercedes AMG motor.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Tune and exhaust your 550 wheel. Most people, that's plenty and sounds amazing. And then
You don't need any more than that.
no, and then I mean the factory valved exhaust is beautiful. Like you can actually, it's a full straight pipe when you open it. You know, I mean, and again, that's one of my things. Obviously, being an exhaust manufacturer, is I'll look into what I can do and can't do, or what I should do. You know, it's like the Urus. You know, people are like, oh, I'm going to sell you a $17,000 titanium catback. It's like, okay, well, the factory one is a push button straight pipe. It physically can't get any louder. You're going to spend $10,000, $15,000 on an exhaust catback, and the only time it's going to be louder is when the valves are closed. And that's when you want it fucking quieter. So anybody who's buying Urus catbacks, you're literally throwing your money away. You know, like it's just crazy. And I can't bring myself to do that to people. You know, people keep asking me like, I want a catback. I was like, I won't build it.
I won't sell
I just won't do it. You know, so I don't know. There's certain cars that should be modified. There's certain cars that shouldn't. And there's certain cars that, you know, react really well to exhaust systems. And then the MC20 was another one. Like my client was one of the first ones with him, developed a whole entire exhaust system for it, thinking it was going to be like the next big bitchin' car because the doors went up. Nobody modifies them.
Doesn't do shit to him.
Literally at all. I mean, every single one I even still see it, South of Sea Cars and Coffee, stock wheels. Nobody even fucking lowers them.
Nobody wants those fucking things.
Yeah, which is really sad because, I mean,
It's a beautiful car.
It is a beautiful fucking car.
it's a beautiful car.
It's a beautiful car. Someone needs to do those right. The carbon Aria kits. Have you seen those?
Yes.
That satin silver one with then like the silver carbon. That car it doesn't even look real. Like
Yeah.
it looks like it's AI generated. The videos of it.
Yeah, but I mean, they
look
did
like
a
real
great
car.
job. But again, it's all cosmetic.
Yeah.
You know, and then it's running essentially the Ferrari 296 twin turbo V6, just without the hybrid drive of the 296. But nobody's cracked that ECU yet, and it's been 2.5 years. Like, you can't even tune them. So
Nobody's cracked the ECU still.
nobody.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's guys in Russia working on it. There's guys all over the place trying to work on it, and legitimately, you still can't tune it.
If you put an exhaust on a car, do you need a tune?
It depends on what you do. So most catback only, no. But most modern cars that are factory turbo, they don't really have much in the way of a muffler anyway. You know? So it's like, unless you want to delete the cat or do a high flow, whatever, then you're looking at not really getting much out of a catback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like back in the day where, you know, you would have, you know, you'd bolt on an exhaust and you'd gain 25 horsepower. And you still have exhaust companies to this day that are like, you know, our exhaust systems, you know, bolt on 15, 20 horsepower. Bullshit. It's a fucking lie. It is an outright lie. All modern cars have torque vectoring tables built into the computer. So even if it sees more horsepower, well, which is just a derivative of torque. So the torque vectoring table goes up, it sees that, it pulls it back down to exactly where it's supposed to be. So if you don't tune it, you don't get power. So any exhaust company on earth who tells you our kits make power, they're fucking lying. So, and I can call out a handful of them that literally still,
Call
25 horsepower. Yeah. No, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, that's a hot button.
much
A
so.
hot button topic.
That's a hot button
Eric.
topic, very much so.
How about this? Do you prefer the low rumble or the high pitched scream?
Depends on the car. So I don't believe in modifying a pitch so much that you lose torque.
Okay.
So if you're going to have this kind of car and you want it to scream and you design an exhaust system in such a way to give it this insane pitch, but you lose 20% of the torque of the engine, what the fuck was the point? You know
That's
what I mean?
a Porsche thing, yeah?
It is, yeah.
There's a lot of guys doing the new GT3 setup, GT3 RS setup that just sounds insane, but then you put the thing on the dyno and you're just like, oh, damn,
Lost power.
you know? Yeah, and those cars are already gutless wonders. You know what I mean? So it's like the 3RS crowd is like, oh, the loudest car in the world. It's like, bro, your car makes 500 horsepower. Like 400, 410 of the tires
half a
on
mil.
a good day.
But
For half
bro,
a
the
mil.
Nürburgring.
Yeah. You know, because I know so many people that own GT3s that actually take their car on the track.
It's specifically the Nürburgring.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Yeah.
I go there yearly.
Yeah, get
I
that
ship
shit
my
on an
GT3 RS.
Airbus A380, ship that shit over,
I
you
ship
know?
it to Germany like probably every 3 months in Nürburgring my 3RS.
Yeah.
The real question
Because
here
of
is when are we going to build a exhaust system for the new Corvette Z06?
So I get asked all the time about the new Z06 and domestic cars. They will always hold a special place in my heart. And I started, racing for Ford, and racing against Ford and racing against Pontiac and racing against Chevy and all of them. But
Pontiac, RIP.
Yeah, right. But domestic car community, RIP. Yeah, I mean, aside from the Mustang fanboys that have ruined that community, but that's a separate conversation. But yes, I mean,
Stop fanboying.
Yeah, Mustang guys. Yeah, so Corvette. Yes, I can. Yes, I could. The tune is not worked out yet, no matter what anybody tells you. It's still super iffy. You're still going to throw a lot of check engine lights. The car's still going to go into limp mode. So we kind of let the tunes work themselves out first, because otherwise the last thing I want as an exhaust manufacturer is somebody buying my product and then calling me after a shop buys it and installs it, and then they do nothing but bitch and complain about the fact that my exhaust is what's making it not run right, when it has nothing to do with the exhaust. It has everything to do with the fact that there's no way to tune it. And all modern cars that have, catalytic converters and wideband rear or primary oxygen sensors, now these OPF and GPF cells that are just getting more and more complicated to meet these ridiculous emission standards. Every single thing requires like way more sensors. Your Ferrari right now only had 4 sensors. The new ones have 8 sensors. They're just retarded how it's just getting more and more complicated. So the Corvette, once the tune is worked out, yes, I could, but the problem is you have 3 or 4 American manufacturers that already make systems that are having them made in China. And again, I can't compete against child slave labor, No
matter what.
Yeah, my fabricators make a good living. They support families where Chinese slave labor is $2 a day. You know what I mean? And you see these kids welding on concrete floors on their hands and knees with nothing but a pair of sunglasses. And even some of them that literally now they learn to cover their eyes on every pulse of the exhaust, on every pulse of the welder. So you literally watch them and they're welding with no safety equipment at all. They're just covering their eyeballs every time the torch flashes. And that's the conditions that these exhausts are made in.
So there's no Z06 exhaust coming from my best
So this
friend.
is why
That's what I'm hearing right now.
Yes. Could I build one? Absolutely. As soon as the tune's done, I will straight pipe that motherfucker like nobody's business. We'll do an 8-into-1 long tube just specifically for your car. We'll do a custom triple tip like Mansouri just to fuck with people, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, but we'll do an 8-into-1. We'll just do some wild long tube.
It's got to be a 3-tip because you got to make the exhaust look just like the 458.
458 exhaust, yeah.
That's where it's derived from.
That's really what it's derived from.
So that's why you kind of stick to the higher end market, huh? Because
there's just as much competition in the higher end market with the China product, but
people are more willing to maybe spend.
People are willing to spend more for quality, and then we do pride ourselves on American sourced materials, American engineered product, and American made. So, and to some people, there's still a benefit to that, and then also to know that they can pick up the phone and call and have a English speaking person answer the phone and talk to them and help solve their problem. And then the benefit too of being able to reach me directly, being a small manufacturer, a real, boutique manufacturer, I guess you'd want to call it. Being able to talk to me and my background, if the car is having troubles and it has nothing to do with our exhaust, advice is always free. You know what I mean? I'm always willing to help out anybody in the community. Mm-hmm. Even if people are texting me at 11 o'clock at night trying to get advice on what to do to their next 720 purchase.
So if someone lives in like Des Moines, Iowa, right?
And they have supercars out there?
Sadly, I think
there might be a guy with an R8. There's a guy with an R8 in Des Moines, Iowa. He hears the Supercar Connection podcast and goes, "Wow, I really like what I'm hearing with this Voodoo R8 exhaust." And he wants a Voodoo R8 exhaust. How does he go about getting that exhaust?
At this point, we still do sell direct to the public as we build up our dealer network. If there is a dealer in that area, and they call, I'm just going to refer them to our dealer.
Yeah.
So that's the benefit, is I'm really trying to start getting our dealer network out there and letting the dealers and installers know that this is a product that they can get behind. And, their technicians can also call. And, technicians talking to technicians, I always say that the best shop owners started as technicians. It's like when you go to a dealership, the best service writers started as technicians because they know the car. You're not talking to somebody who's just selling hype. Like some of these wrap shops and other shit around here that, I know all about cars, we modify all these 720s. It's like, dude, you do wraps, wheels, and tires. You might throw an exhaust and tune on it, and that's a full build. No, it's fucking not. If you're not doing a body off rotisserie, full paint, custom frame, engineering your own products, building an engine, that's a full build. Today's definition of full build is bullshit. Like anybody can fucking wrap a car, lower it, and put a set of wheels and exhaust on it. Literally anybody. And every wrap shop around has proven that. If there's a problem, then all of a sudden, people are driving their cars to me and be like, well, can you fix it? And I was like, well, you should have bought my fucking parts from me then. Not some China parts and some off-brand wrap material.
So someone, if there's no dealers in the area, someone can still buy it directly from you and then go take it to someone to
install.
Yeah. Or, if they want to try to tackle it themselves, I'm not one to try to let you take your own R8 apart or 720 because you're going to break something. But yeah, most shops that have decent technicians can install an exhaust. I wouldn't trust them with like one of our center exit conversions, but the average exhaust that we do, like there really aren't any instructions. And people are like, why you don't have instructions? It's like, well, because it's the factory. It's the factory manuals to take the factory bumpers off, take your factory exhaust back off, or in some cases, our intercoolers, our front radiators, our fuel rails, like whatever we manufacture, it's direct replacement for what the manufacturer makes. So, if you don't have access to those manuals or you've never done that before, you shouldn't be working on the cars.
So you have an R8 kit that's not center exit?
Yeah, we do all standard exit on all exotic cars. So every supercar and hypercar.
Because I've just seen a lot of I've seen a lot of the center exit.
It's the influencer kit.
Center exit.
If you're an influencer, you get the center exit. If you're not an influencer, you get the standard exit.
I don't know, man. I'd rather sell the center exit because to me, like if you own an exotic and you modify the exhaust, most exotics, like their entire exhaust system sits behind heat shields, sits behind OEM false tips. That's all you get. So, on a 720, at least you can kind of see through the grill a little bit. You know what I mean? Or you can see really cool exhaust tips.
Right.
But most other cars you can't. So, like to me, it's a flex when you can walk up to a show and be like, holy shit, the exhaust is in a whole different place, And so what we try to do, we'll bring in a ferro arm, we'll scan the entire thing, we'll do the whole thing in CAD, and then once the exhaust system is done, we'll take a thermal imaging video camera and we'll actually trace the heat plume from the exhaust. We'll measure the temperatures of the different, components from the metal to the polypropylene to, the painted surfaces to make sure that those temperatures and that exhaust in its new location isn't going to hurt the car. So, which is one thing that does separate us from other companies, so we actually have a lot of engineering that goes into our center exit conversions, but it's one of those things where even parked, it looks bitchin', you know what I mean? And so our R8 kit, I'd probably say we probably sell 10 to 1, our center exits versus non-center.
Fuck yeah.
So it's just cool. And the thing about the exotic car crowd is they're not afraid to cut their cars up. You just got to convince them that it's not as hard as people think.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing now is everybody's asking me to do the quad tip 720 exhaust. So, and just to make a 3D printed metal heat shield that goes across to fill the two current dips where the tips are, and then to duck one down in the center so you get like more of a 765 look without actually having a 765 or pretending it's a 765. A lot of people just like the way it looks.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's one of the next on the list.
Even the 750 exhaust now, the dual exhaust, but it's in the center. That shit's fucking bitching too.
Yeah. Well, the closer you can bring the exhaust tips, it changes the sound as well. When you have it a lot farther apart, you'll notice like my 570 with the exhaust on the side sounds a lot different than our center exit exhaust over here that has the two tips right next to each other. It obviously has a little bit more of a P1-esque sound to it than the typical McLaren traditional sound that
it's not
when you're running the divorce setup, I don't really like the sound.
Yeah.
So you do a proper X-pipe on those cars, you get a decent amount of merge without affecting the back pressure into the turbos, and you can get this, especially right around that 70% load range, and you'll hear it too, especially when you start going like up a hill. You get out of that drone range is one thing, but once you get out of that, you get into this sweet spot where the car just hums. It's just this perfect exotic sound, and you'll just sit there like sixth gear, just not giving a fuck about mileage. Just be like, I love this
range is fucking
3,500, 5,500 RPM range. This is where I want to be. This is where this car wants to live.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. So, and then you can get, and then you tune the car right. You're going to get all the flames, none of the fuckboy popcorn pops and BMW bullshit. It's, again, that's a whole other topic.
The pops and bangs tune.
Yeah.
Some pops and bangs, the natural pops and bangs of these cars is fine.
Nothing excessive. We're literally
But it's
entirely
this-
fucking
Is a
Popcorn
Huracan natural pops and
Yeah.
bangs? Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you free up the exhaust to do what it's supposed to do, and you get, the Huracan muffler, So the Urcon Evo muffler is big, but the regular LP610, LP580 muffler is massive. Like it's 67 pounds, I think it is. It's huge. It's a brick. Like people are always like, well, you know, I'm going to come pick up my stock exhaust after it's done, right? I'm like, you got a truck? Like, well, no. I was like, it's like 6 feet long. like, you know, and it's just massive. But you take it off, you get these great natural pops. You get these, you know, great, you know, like the upshift pops everybody wants. You know, it sounds aggressive under downshift. It's got a little bit of rumble to it and a little bit of like the crackle, but not the pops that are being artificially put into these cars through tunes now.
Not that like it sounds like someone's popping off an actual firearm.
Yeah, the firearm pop is
ridiculous.
Stupid. You know, I mean, then you're getting into the, you know, then you've got the, you know, the fake two-step crowd, and then you've got the, you know, I mean, you know, I have a little kid. You roll around with the little thing with the little balls that pop up and down. That literally sounds like a BMW. That's the BMW fuckboy popcorn tune. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, somebody needs to impound your car and never give it back to you.
Sounds like Glendale PD right there.
How about that? How about that Jaguar F-Type R factory exhaust? You know what I'm talking about? Because that came with the pops, just like
it did, and it was cool. And
cool at the time.
The F-Type R is a great looking car, and the issue that I have with it is like whoever runs their marketing team are fucking morons. You have this great looking sports car. It's like the Vantage too. Great looking car, beautiful. Great performance numbers, like super sporty, and that you're still marketing it to like 70-year-old men.
No, stupid.
Like, what the fuck? You know, there are 30-year-old men that make that kind of money that would love that car.
Yeah.
But you have zero aftermarket support for it.
They literally built it for the young.
They did, and then they still marketed it to the old
designed it in a
guys.
way for the young crowd. The way they made it sound, stock and everything like that, like that's not for the older crowd.
No, the exhaust tip design was great, everything. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say I almost got one, but when I was looking for like before the Aston and before the previous driver, I was looking for a C63S, but I was also looking at the Jaguar. And it was like, okay, well, what can I do to the Jaguar? And I was like, fucking nothing. Literally nothing. I put a set of wheels on it instead of iBox. Like, who the fuck does that shit anymore?
Right.
You can get an SVR for like a little over 60 grand right now. The F-Type SVR. Jesus Christ. Which is a pretty crazy car.
Yeah. But again,
why don't you look at that?
Well, that's
there's no support.
I would look at it if I don't get approved for an R8.
That might be the backup plan.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the backups.
You're going for an R8?
You ever heard about this?
I know this. I know a guy.
I know.
I know a guy.
I've heard a guy.
Yeah.
Trust me. As soon as, well, first of all, just getting the R8 is a stretch.
Oh, I know. Trust me.
As soon as I get it and then get my feet back under me, I can tell you, I know what I want to do.
Yeah.
Center exit.
Center exit, baby.
Center exit.
You want to put your supercar connections in the center grill?
Like Bambi?
Let's fucking do it.
Southwest Heat Cars and Coffee. I did his name in his. Bambi's got it in hers. Nadia's got it in hers. It's just CAD. You know, you go in, you manipulate the file, you add in whatever graphics you want. We pick your font, we put your name right in it. Yeah, maybe the little SCC logo right on it.
Can you do a 720?
Can I do a 720?
Can we do that on the 720 too?
No, I don't like you.
No, that's what I thought.
He wants to buy an R8.
Yeah, just Gavin, man. Just get out of here.
No. Yeah, I mean, there's that little center grill in between. Yeah. I've already got the CAD done for it. I just never really. It's one of those things that you know, as a designer, like I want to design everything. Mm-hmm. You know, and like if you look at some of the bigger companies, I mean, like I've known the president of Novatech North America for years, and he'll say the same thing. Like Novatech don't fuck around. You know, they will literally go buy every single variation of car and spend $2 million on developing the products before they even release a single product for that part. Like Novatech don't fuck around. You know, so for me, it's like I wish I could go buy every single make and model of every car, but we can't. So there's still
Novatech is so expensive.
Yeah, exactly. But then when I, you know, every time I want to, you know, take another step into the 720 or do the quad tip or do like, you know, change up the intercooler design, it's like then somebody comes by with, you know, like, you know, an Aventador SVJ and is like, everybody's got the high pitch system. I want something that fucks with all those guys. You know what I mean? Like now it's like, okay, well, do I do a, you know, change up an SVJ or do I do a grill for a 720? So it's always like Yeah, and then you're like, okay, well now let's re-engineer an entire, SVJ system and do something nobody else has done. So that is something that I do try to do. I try to do shit that nobody else is willing to do or able to do, because anybody can take a factory exhaust, fixture it, and build another exhaust. It's not hard. It's really kind of thinking outside the box with regard to sound, power, partnering with the right tuners to make sure that, I can get their input on some of these modern computers that I don't necessarily may have enough experience with. And they can say, hey, this is where the car makes power. This is what we can do. This is what we've seen. So, we partner with HD Tuning on all of our platforms now. Over the last almost decade, but now it's been over a decade of tuning with him, and we've never had an engine failure. So he doesn't get stupid aggressive. He doesn't get, if you want all the pops and all the bangs and all the flames, he can do it. But, then you'll be burning through spark plugs every 5,000 miles, you know what I mean? Or having coils fail every other week, it's just so, it all depends on how far you want to go. But in today's day and age, there's nothing you can't do anymore,
Yeah.
You'll see that on the McLaren. Like it's pretty ridiculous. You make all the fire in the world, and same thing with your R8. You decat it and put a decent tune on it, you'll get all the fire in the world, and you don't need to put spark plugs in your tailpipe.
Your R8. He's already saying it. I love it.
I'm telling you, manufacturing.
Dude, you got to manifest that shit.
Manifest
trust me.
out of it, bro.
My car is listed. We're working on it. And the R8, I've already got,
We're getting rid of was it Alpha?
Yeah.
Fun little car, though.
Fun little car. Interesting little car. For 3 years, I've absolutely loved it. And now that I'm like, on the brink of an R8, I all of a sudden can't stand it.
The one thing I can tell you,
dude, I resent it. Every time I go down to start it up, I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah,
can you just like summon someone to buy you, please?
Yeah, and that's the thing is the one thing I do have to say about the Audi platform. It's great. It handles well. You can throw that bitch onto a Cloverleaf freeway on ramp at whatever speed you want, and it's gonna make it. They're just grossly underpowered.
Yeah.
They're just really sad.
Yeah.
Like you get in an R8 and you mash it and it's loud. It's kind of like our whole, GT3 RS thing is all the sound in the world, great handling, all-wheel drive in the Audi version, but just, hey, they're just not fast. Like
It doesn't have it.
425, 430 wheel, and you're just like, oh God. But then the next step up is what? VF supercharger or twin turbo kit. You know what I mean? There's no real, it's not like a 720 where the McLaren guys or any modern Ferrari that comes factory turbo or any factory turbo car were just, $5,000 or $6,000 in mods and you got another 100 wheel. Your next step, like 40 grand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a hard pill to swallow.
But what else, like just the price point, like what else? Cause even you're looking at like, you can get solid V10 R8s at 100 grand.
Yeah.
And then 40 in, you're at 140. Like what
you say 40 in, but then you run into, now I got to buy wheels and tires and I got to lower it and then I got to do ground effects and I'm going to wrap it. And it just, that 40 grand turns into 80 grand real fast.
Oh, for sure.
So, cause you can't build a 800 wheel horse car and put it on cheap Chinese cast wheels. Some people do, the amount of people, especially in this area, that fake the funk and have, ridiculously loud, flashy cars with some of the worst parts you can buy, or flame kits.
So how about this? What's the, as an exhaust would you call yourself an exhaust manufacturer?
Yeah, so we're a performance parts manufacturer. So one of the things people don't know is that it took us a year and a half to develop it, but we have an entire McLaren engine program that we've launched now. We've got several M840 or M840s out there running now, and like the M838s, which are the 600 LTs, 12Cs, all the previous iteration. So we have an entirely forged engine program for those, and then we also have launching our Huracan R8 engine program. So one of the biggest problems I had is nobody would tell you where they get the parts, nobody would tell you who's making stuff, and then you would get the ever-living shit text out of you with...
is there a squirrel on the roof?
Probably. Get a BB gun. But yes, it's I don't even know where I was going with that.
Great,
but, yeah. So the engine programs are great, and we're not doing the typical, luxury car tax. You know what I mean? Like there's zero reason why a McLaren engine should cost you $85,000. There's just not. So, you know, I mean, if you can get into one of those engines, you know, between the 40, 50,000 range for fully sleeve, you know, quality pistons, you know, so all of our stuff is CP piston, Carrillo rods, ARP hardware, Darden sleeve. So everything is US sourced, US manufactured from some of the biggest, you know, drag race companies in the world that make pistons that do 9,000 horsepower. So, you know, that's kind of one of the reasons that we got into it. And we started seeing all these engine failures on these cars where people tried to squeeze, you know, 1,200 horsepower out of their 720s. So things were failing left and right. And, you know, people were bending connecting rods. People were punching holes through the sides of the block, you know. So it's just like, okay, well, let's mitigate that and stop it with something that's a little bit more affordable. So on top of that, we do intercoolers, front radiators, fuel rails. God, what don't we make? You know, working with different suspension companies with some things coming out in the future. But yeah, so our bread and butter, though, is our exhaust systems.
So specifically from the exhaust side of things, as an exhaust manufacturer, what do you think is the best sounding factory exhaust?
I'm going to judge you on this answer.
What's that?
I'm going to judge you on this answer.
Yeah, right.
I know, obviously, whatever it is, you can make it sound better. But
that's my problem.
But from factory, what's the best? And then you can also tell us after that what you can make sound the best.
Well, I mean, are we allowed to go into the hypercar market? Because I mean, the Huayra R sounds amazing.
That's
fair.
I mean, yeah.
The Huayra
like
R.
I had a customer come to me because I've done several Huayra BCs and Koenigsegg's and some others, but somebody came to me with the Zonda F. I was like, "What can you do to it?" And I literally was looking all the way through it, and I was like, "Nothing. Like, what am I going to do?" I mean, like, yeah. So when you get to that level of car, I mean, they literally are art. I mean, they're just so next level. I mean, everything down to every single nut and bolt has the logo on it. Everything is torqued to spec and then lined up so everything matches. Like working under those cars and on those cars, it's just so different. Yeah. It's just, yeah.
Those cars are crazy. Different. Okay, what's your favorite sounding exhaust that you've made?
I mean, my LaFerrari system was pretty nuts.
Yeah, I can imagine.
LaFerrari system? Fuck yeah.
I've done 3.
Yeah. It's fucking bitching.
Yeah.
I can imagine that would be nuts.
Yeah, the LaFerrari is fun. The older Koenigsegg's...
You have videos of that?
Yeah.
I want to hear that shit.
The older Koenigsegg's were fun, but those were nothing more than a 2-pram kit car with a Ford, what did they call it back then?
Old Koenigsegg's to new Koenigsegg's is crazy.
I don't know what happened or where it came from, but you went from a tube chassis car with a supercharged Ford engine to proprietary blocks, you know, carbon monocoque chassis.
Christian
like that switch to the Agera was just
ridiculous.
When you get up close and personal with, like, you get close to the Regera and start looking at the details, it's like the Pagani.
Yeah.
It's like just perfection. It's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, they also know. I mean, talking with some of their test drivers and guys in the past, like, they know, you know, Bugattis are going to come out, they're going to get their number, they're going to get their top speed, and Koenigsegg's just going to go and just turn the boost up and be like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like that's the power that car has, and that's the engineering prowess that his team has. Like, it doesn't matter what anybody else does. All he has to do is come back and be like, okay, well, we were running 7/10, now we're going to run 8/10, and whatever they just did, we're going to beat them. And then as soon as we get beat again, well, then we're going to go from 8/10 to 9/10, and it's like it's limitless what those guys are capable of doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, other than that, as far as like regular car, I think all modern Ferraris sound like shit.
All modern Ferrari.
Yes. So anything with cats and
458
and OPFs, yeah, the 458 is an uncorked 458 is almost unbeatable. It is. Like, you get the right exhaust on that, like, again, gutless wonder, zero power, but the sound and just the driving and the I mean, just the responsiveness and the feel you get in the seat and the steering wheel, it's just, you know, I mean, you drive one. It's so different. And the visceral sound of that exhaust is just unreal.
That car in the canyons is
trust me,
butter.
I have this shit for sale, and like I get into it and I drive it and I'm like, why the fuck?
I mean, at this point, it's only going to appreciate.
Yeah, it's very
true. I mean, that's the other thing.
It's very true.
You know, obviously we're sitting, you know, in front of a, you know,
Speciale.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the same thing there.
Ridiculous.
But
even more so.
best.
Yeah. So it's just 458 amplified.
Those are going to be $1 million cars
easily.
Oh yeah,
in a few years.
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, the Apertas probably already are. Or are they still like 800?
They might be up there like that.
They're
But the 458's headed for 300 territory, not too far from that.
The Italia, I mean, look up 2030, and these Italias are going to be over $1 million. Or the Speciales, sorry.
The Speciale, yeah.
These Speciales are going to be over $1 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's
even for
God. I mean, what do you think is the best sounding car? Stock car.
Stock car, I gotta go with the Aventador platform, the SVJ, the
Stock
V12s, or like the Mercy SV stock.
Mercy SV stock was a little different back then. You didn't have the emissions restrictions. You didn't have the muffler and decibel level restrictions. So yeah, those did sound good.
So maybe we go with the Mercy SV. Those cars sound ridiculous. I
see that.
I like the high pitch. I like the scream.
Okay.
That's my style. I take that over the Rumble all day.
You're going to love that.
Yeah.
That one should hopefully be a game changer.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I'm actually fucking super excited to hear that.
We're gonna
review that fucking thing. It's supposed to be bitching.
You are?
That's what you said.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. But I'm a simple the 458.
We don't have to. Maybe we won't.
458 factory though?
Yeah. Still.
Really?
Yeah, just plug the vacuum lines. That's all you need. I still love the way it sounds.
Yeah, I mean,
factory
stock. Yeah.
Knowing what it can do after is different, but factory, that shit's still plenty. It satisfies my taste at least. Or even the new Z06, I still think it's bitching.
Yeah, dude. God, the new Z06. Holy shit. Like,
sounds good.
Yeah.
It's. I don't know how they're passing the California sound test. You know what I mean?
I'll ask questions.
Like Porsche got its ass kicked by California. They're like, you can't sell the car here, so now everything's quieter. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. That new Z06 is pretty bitchin'.
I think what it is too is the mode you drive it in. Because in tour, it's fucking muffled. Like you don't hear a goddamn
Well, yeah, I mean,
thing.
factory valve options are factory.
That's what I'm saying. I think
valve.
that's how they bypass all California. Because as soon as you put that thing in track, that's how I was driving in right now. Yeah, that fucking thing sounds.
But I mean, you got the cops around here in Laguna Beach and in Costa Mesa and Newport now, like, oh, you're not allowed to drive your car in Corsa mode.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like, yes, you can.
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking go there.
Yeah.
You know, give me my fix-it ticket.
I had a cop stop me, literally tell me I couldn't drive my car in sport mode.
In your Corvette?
In my Corvette. In my base C8 at the time.
Jeez.
I literally was looking at it, I was like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, it is
But I
total
was like,
bullshit.
it's fine. Exactly.
It's total
I was
bullshit.
just looking at it, I was like, you just hate your life, but it's fine, bro.
Yeah.
You on the final questions?
Let's do it.
Questions?
Let's do it.
Uh-oh.
Every guest, same 3 questions. I will judge you heavily on them. Gavin's very accepting of your answers. So
Judge away.
yes. First question.
Yeah, we've been going for like an hour and a half now, so we're gonna go into these questions, wrap us up, put a nice bow on it.
Yes.
First up, what's the most overrated car today?
Well, I would say any BMW, but I will go with GT3 and GT3 RS,
Mitchin.
hands down.
Why is that?
Because 99.9% of those owners will, even though it is probably the most tracked car, the majority of them will never see a track. And I don't give a shit if your car is going to beat me around the Nürburgring. Like, you can take almost any other sports car that's already way faster in a straight line. And by the time we hit the turns, I'm already 10 car lengths ahead of you. So by the time we hit the next turn, now I'm 12. By the time I hit the next turn, now I'm 14. Like, they're nothing special. They're very loud at the top end, screaming at 9,000 RPM as you fly by them. You know what I mean?
For $500,000.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the markups are stupid.
Yeah, markups are definitely stupid.
Most underrated car.
Ooh, I would still have to go back, like we said, and go right back to Porsche and say Turbo S.
I respect that.
Yeah. Because, and I don't know why they depreciate like they do. I mean, they're not a GT car. I get it.
Very much
But
so.
that car, for the money, especially if you let somebody else take the hit, like,
What's the prime range for it? Like not even the 992, like the 991?
I mean, even a 991 Turbo S is a phenomenal car. And bang for the buck, the how modification friendly they are, the amount of aftermarket support for those platforms is insane. I mean, you can do 1,000 horsepower to the tires out of those cars in a fairly reliable manner. You can do 800 wheel in that car all day long, and it'll live there for the entire length of the time you own the car. Yeah. So, yeah, 800 wheel in a Turbo S all day long. You will run circles around your buddy's 3RS and then, take it around a turn with your buddy's 2RS and you're still going to beat him. So, yeah.
How about it? All right, last question for you. You've got your ideal 3-car garage today. You're building a 3-car garage today. All you get is 3 cars with an unlimited budget. What are you picking? I know you got kids. You got to factor some
You
of
got
that stuff
to
in.
factor your current life
You're gonna have
situation.
to- at least one of
Well,
them.
I think my
probably
current garage is pretty legit. Especially with the car I've got being built in South Carolina and some other things. But
your current garage is legit. I would
Very
take your
legit.
current
Yeah.
garage in a heartbeat.
I've got a military spec up armored H1 being built with a turbo diesel that'll do about 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. So yeah,
That's
but if you had-
that's
if you
that's
had-
gonna be what I take the kids in.
Right.
You have a blank check.
I mean the Jesco for sure, Jesco, Yesco, whatever the hell it is. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I respect what Christian has done with his cars, like to know it. I think they're hands down in every way, shape, and form better than a Pagani. So obviously those two collectors are the same thing. That's
Right.
like oil and water, but you know, so yeah, Jesco. Shit,
great
not the
starting
Saber.
point.
It is
Yeah,
fucking
what?
great starting point.
Not the Saber. What's the Solus?
The
The
Solus.
single-seater McLaren?
Yeah.
I would do that just
Okay.
because I am now a McLaren fanboy. So, and I don't have to take anybody with me. Never have anybody. Never have a friend call, be like, "Hey, can I get a ride?"
Nope.
No,
Go for
Yes,
it.
go.
no.
Solus.
It's got one seat.
The last one.
Last one. It's slow. It shifts like shit. But there's nothing on the planet that looks more aggressive than it rolling down a freeway. I would take an SVJ.
An SVJ.
I respect it.
Where are the kids?
The kids in this.
Doesn't
thing.
matter.
Doesn't matter. Fuck the kids.
You don't need to take
That's
them
what
anywhere.
happened. So I had the McLaren, which was a 2-seater. I came home with the R8, that was a 2-seater, and then I just got the Aston, it was kind of sight unseen, and I came home and it was a 2-seater, and I literally thought it was a 2+2. And she's like, "Where the fuck are the back seats?" I was like, "Fuck." So,
Now we have the H1 now.
yeah. So now we're building a Hummer.
All right.
So
Fucking
yeah,
bet.
I got to do it.
All right then.
SVJ, Yesco, and Solus.
And Solus. Yeah.
What a garage.
It might be one of the best garages that we've had, I guess, built.
I mean, there's plenty of guys in the Middle East who already got it.
Yeah, very true. Oil money's
Copy
different.
them.
But yeah. I guess
Well, where can we find where can they find you on social media?
Everything is at Voodoo Design.
At Voodoo Design.
So yeah, I mean, we made it easy on Facebook, which I don't think anybody ever uses anymore, but it's there. Yeah, Instagram,
the P-Car crew
internet.
is for sure on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's true. No, they're on what are they? What is it? Renlist? They're on Renlist. They're still on forums. You know what I mean?
Forums heavy.
Yeah.
Fucking forums.
Heavy
Super
forums.
fucking heavy.
Yeah, which I don't even know the last time I've been on a forum.
At Voodoo Design.
Yeah, and then the website. I mean, it's all the same shit.
Yeah.
So you can't follow me because I'm shadow banned and really offensive. But other than that, my company is not.
The Boost Alchemist here. I love it.
Yeah, no, we're not going to.
Well, thank you for coming on. This
Yes,
was
we appreciate the time.
this was a great conversation.
Yeah, we didn't offend nearly as many people as I thought we would.
No.
Yeah. Do
Maybe
you
on
want to? You can throw in some offense here at the end if you want.
Yeah, if you want to. Or part 2 will save it. We'll just make it a cancel episode.
Oh, I mean, if
Part
that's
2.
the case, then the entire Mustang community, as it sits today, needs to go. The car itself, the new modern Mustang is amazing. Crew, or the entire crowd sucks. Flame kits, fucking joke. Don't do them.
You know what? I actually have one last question for you that I thought earlier I didn't ask. I feel like I might know the answer just because of how you've started going, but I don't know. I feel like the other way. Anyway, who's worse, the Mustang crew or the Mopar crew?
Oh fuck.
that's right there on the edge.
Why is it the domestic car guys? Seriously.
I don't know.
I mean, like you have a Corvette, right? So I mean, and
Not that
I
bad.
mean, I've owned 12 Mustangs. So don't get me wrong. Like I have literally owned 12 Mustangs and a couple other domestics. And I mean, I still love the history of the Mustang, the history of Ford, everything about it. But the modern fan has ruined it. And they're just as bad as the Mopar guys for these street takeovers.
Yeah, no, they have destroyed the car community. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
they have. I mean, the street takeover crowd, like
They've turned it into degeneracy almost. Is
Yeah.
pretty much what it is.
And it's like anytime I've ever held an event, like I call up the local law enforcement, I'm like, park a car at the front, park a car at the back, so nobody does any stupid shit.
Yep.
And then you still have people go out and do stupid shit.
It's wild.
But all for what? Fucking likes?
It's partly with the price point of the
Mustang,
cars.
Mopar. Which one? Or the street bike crew? I'm kidding. We won't even open.
No, bikes are a whole different deal. Then you,
Those-
Mustang,
that IQ
Mopar.
level is way too low, so we can't touch that.
Surely the Mopar crew is worse, right?
you know, I don't know. I mean, the jury's out on that one, but because of my hatred for specific Mustang owners that I've met over the years, I'm going to have to go with the Mustang guys.
All right.
I respect
Final
that.
answer.
Yeah.
Mustang crew.
Yeah, because they, the Mopar guys at least have really big power in a lot of their options. The Mustang guys don't. And they still think their cars are just the greatest things in the fucking world.
It's the price point too. Like what you're saying, why the domestic crowd to a certain degree?
Not necessarily.
I've seen some
You
great
think?
builds of either.
To a
If you're
certain
out
degree.
there, you drive one of those cars. Hey, as
Yeah.
long as you're not part of the problem, you're not part of the problem. Don't be part of the problem. Drive the car, enjoy it. All these cars are built for a certain purpose. Understand the purpose and leave it at that.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you're driving on the street and you want to have a little bit of fun with your friends or whatever, that's fine. Wait until late at night where there's not 1,000 cars on the freeway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? These guys are zigzagging in and out of traffic. Not a single one of these guys has ever been to a driving school. And just because, and that even goes for the supercar guys. Supercar guys are really bad. They're like, oh, I've got a $500,000 car. That means I'm a professional race car driver. No, it fucking doesn't. You know what I mean? You get these guys zigzagging in and out of traffic on the rallies that I've been on. I just hold back with 5 of my friends that we know, we trust, we know what we're doing. We wait for open stretches of road. We signal. We let people know what we're doing in advance. We all have two-way radios. You get some guys are just out there, doing
Going
200
crazy.
just to do 200.
It's that invincible feeling. They feel like they have that car and they're invincible, and that the second they
Money
find that
does
out,
not create invincibility.
exactly.
No.
So
All right. We'll cap it there.
Yes, it's been
A
a
little
fucking
bonus
fantastic
content for
episode.
you guys there at the
Yes.
end.
Shout out
Thank
to
you
Eric
so
and
much.
Voodoo for coming on. We appreciate it.
no worries, guys. Awesome.
We're out.
We're out.